Hello guys, welcome to the UK box office charts. I'm Tony. This is a brand new channel. I just thought I'd start it because I've always been interested in UK box office and I've always been interested in the UK box office figures, and I was just wondering if anyone else would be interested too. I'm going to see if I can keep this channel up for a few weeks, see if people respond to it well. And yeah, I just want it to be fun for myself really. I just want to give people the opportunity to see what the UK box office is. This week we'll be focusing on last weekend's box office, which was the 23rd to the 25th of September. The reason why it's released on Wednesday is the BFI have to take their time to accumulate all the figures involved and all the cinemas involved. So it is released on Wednesdays, unfortunately. It's a bit of a delay, but that way you get accurate numbers. So let's jump straight into it. At number one this week was Ticket to Paradise. This was supposed to be releasing last weekend, but due to the Queen's funeral that had to be delayed, they delayed it up until Monday. So this is its first weekend, I should say. This is its first weekend, and I didn't expect it. I did not expect Ticket to Paradise to be number one. I did expect Don't Worry Darling to be number one. It seems that George Clooney and Julia Roberts still have they have greater power, let's say, over than Harry Styles and Florence Pugh. Ticket to Paradise made £2,805,615 over this weekend. It was released in 687 cinemas across the country. That's a site average of £4,084. It's in its first week of release, and so there is no change. At number two, Don't Worry Darling. That made £2,771,935. It was released in 693 cinemas. That's the widest release and the widest release of the weekend. Excuse me. That's a site average of £4,000 in its first week of release, and so there is no change. At number three, Avatar, the re-release of Avatar. That made £1,218,693. Most likely, that was thanks to it being released in 3D and in IMAX theatres. They charge a little bit more than standard average 2D screens. It was released in 535 cinemas across the country. That's a site average of £2,278. It's been 1 week on release, and so there is no change. At number four, See How They Run. That made £473,222. It was released in 640 screens across the country, 640 cinemas across the country, I should say. That's a site average of £739. It's been 3 weeks on release, and that's a 52% drop from last week. At number five, we've got a documentary, Moon Age Daydream, about David Bowie. That made £375,399 over the weekend. That's a site that was released in 559 cinemas, and that was a site average of £672. It's on its second week of release. Last week it was only released in IMAX theatres, and now it's had a much wider release, and so that has been an increase of 107%. At number six, Minions: The Rise of Gru. It's in its 13th week of release, and I'm surprised it's still hanging around the top 10. But mind you, kids' films are always hanging around. There's not a lot for cinemas to release right now. It's been a bit of a lackluster few weeks at the box office. Minions: Rise of Gru last weekend made £267,854. That was released in 536 cinemas. That's a site average of £500. And that was a percentage drop of 17% over last week. At number seven, DC League of Super Pets. That made £236,946. That was released in 526 cinemas. That's a site average of £450. And it's been 9 weeks on release, and so that was a drop of 23% from last week. At number eight, we had Tad the Lost Explorer. This only goes to show us how desperate cinemas are lately in the UK. Tad the Lost Explorer is a Spanish film that's been, frankly, very badly dubbed over in English. That made £201,732. That was released in 598 cinemas across the country. That's a site average of £337. It's been 3 weeks on release, and that's a 28% drop from last week. At number nine, Bullet Train, still hanging around the top 10. That made £152,947. That was released in 268 cinemas. That was a site average of £571. It's been 8 weeks on release, and that was a 53% drop from last week. At number 10, Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun Maverick, 18 weeks on release. 18, that's unbelievable, and it's still hanging around the top 10. That made £139,461. That was released in 341 cinemas last weekend. That's a site average of £409. That's a 57% drop from last week. So that's the top 10 done, guys. However, box office numbers are always fascinating. I like going through them. I like seeing what else has been released and what else has made the charts. And I would like to do a little bit of extra. So here we go, at number 28 on the charts. So number 28 film in the UK of the last weekend was Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Jeepers Creepers Reborn. I had absolutely no idea that they were releasing another Jeepers Creepers film. Most likely, I think that this film has been released simply so that the company can hang on to the license of Jeepers Creepers. I know there was a bit of a legal tussle between the creators of Jeepers Creepers and the studio, saying that they shouldn't have released it when they should have, and they were trying to get it banned from release. But eventually it has now been released. I had no idea it had been released. It's at number 28 in the UK box office charts, and that grossed £10,564. It was released in only 15 theatres. That was a site average of £704, and it was on its first week of release, and so there is no change. And swap the numbers around, at 82 this week was Withnail and I, which is the re-release version of the 2014 version. Only one cinema was showing Withnail and I this week, and that cinema made £1,507. So it was a very good weekend for that cinema. It only goes to show that there is still an appetite among cinema audiences for these older classics. Some cinemas, they just focus on the new releases, modern releases, and frankly they don't earn very much from them. Withnail and I, one cinema, made £1,507. That's not bad. Because it is the 2014 re-release, it's technically on its 417th week of release. Thank you very much, guys. That's the top 10 for the UK box office this week. However, just before you go, I would like to say a big thank you to Dan Murrell. Dan Murrell is an American box office analysis. He does critics. He's a critic and a reviewer, and every week he does a chart. He does a show called Charts with Dan. I've taken inspiration from Charts with Dan to create this, but Charts with Dan focuses on the American and international box offices. I've just decided to focus on the UK box office. So big thank you to Dan Murrell. Please find a link below to get to his channel, because I really would like to support Dan Murrell. So thank you, guys. Thank you. I hope you tune in next week. I hope you like. I hope you subscribe. And if there's any suggestions you'd like to make, please leave a comment below. Thank you very much, guys. Goodbye. Hope to see you next week.